Okay, everybody, hello. For 6th grade math, we're going to do lesson 1.3 today. And 1.3 is about absolute value. This is part 1. We have a 22-point skill sheet today for classwork. And we have 2 points here of note. And today, for absolute value, how do you find and use absolute value? And for activity as well in this lesson, finding absolute value. Absolute value of a number is the numbers in this classwork sheet, page 1, students, so take your notes. Of a number is the number's distance from 0 on a number line. For example, the absolute value of -3 is 3 because -3 is 3 units from 0. The absolute value of -3 is written -3 with brackets here, the absolute value of -3. And there's a bracket here and there's a bracket here. So we're 3 units away from the origin here, and here is your -3 written inside the absolute value brackets there. So the absolute value of -3 would be 3. Absolute value represents a distance. It is always non-negative. Distance is always negative. So graph the following numbers on a number line, then use your number line to find each absolute value. So we're going to graph these numbers here. So what number is that? That'd be -7, right? So the absolute value is 7. Why is that? Because we're 7 units from the origin. Then that would be 5. We're 5 units from the origin. Then that would be what? Where's that? 7? That'd be +7, so we're 7 units away from the origin there. Absolute value would be 7. Then we're -2. We're 2 units from the origin, so the absolute value of -2 would be 2. And then for 4, what's the absolute value of +4? It would be 4, because we're 4 units away from the origin. And then for -4, what's the absolute value of -4? It would be 4 still, because we're 4 units away from the origin. Which pairs of numbers have the same absolute value? How are these numbers related, students? So which numbers have the same absolute value? Well, I'll let you answer that. Oh, wait a minute, 7 and -7, they have the same absolute value. And then 4 and -4 have the same absolute value. So that, okay, analyzing relationships. Which pairs of numbers have the same absolute value? How are these numbers related? And then justify your reasoning. Negative numbers are less than positive numbers. Does this mean that the absolute value of a negative number must be less than the absolute value of a positive number? Explain. -7 and 7 and 4 and -4, they are opposites, so they have the same absolute values though. And then justify your reasoning. No, -7 is less than 3, but the absolute value of -7 is greater than 3. How do you like that? The distance from -7 to 0 is how far, students? Greater than the distance from 3 to 0. So the absolute value is greater for -7 than 3. Okay, so we got this here. Onward to our next slide. This is notebook entry here, students, page 4 in your notebook. Make sure you make that notation here for this lesson, which is 1.3, absolute value in a real-world situation. Absolute values are often used instead of negative values of numbers. For example, if you use a $50 gift card to make a $25 purchase, the change in your gift card balance can be represented by -25. That's one example of absolute value. Jake uses online music store gift card to buy an album of songs by his favorite band. Find a negative number that represents the change of balance on Jake's card after his purchase. So find a negative integer that represents change in the balance, negative $10. So the balance decreased by $10, so use a negative number to show that it went down by $10. The balance went down, so the change is a negative number. But explain how absolute value would be used to express that number in this situation. So use the number line to find the absolute value of negative 10. What is the absolute value of negative 10? So in that situation, it would be 10, wouldn't it? That'd be the absolute value of negative 10. So negative 10 is 10 units from 0 on the number line. So the absolute value of negative 10, the charge of negative 10 will be 10 units or $10. So the balance in Jake's car is decreased by $10. So it is basically that there. Page 7, classwork, reflect. So explain why the absolute value of a number will never be negative. Why is the absolute value of a number never negative? It is the distance from 0, that's why. So we're talking about a distance from the origin on a number line. Distance can never be a negative number. Never. Okay, your turn now. The temperature at night reached negative 13 degrees Fahrenheit. Write an equivalent statement about the temperature using the absolute value of the number. So in this case, write in here a positive statement about this number here, and then include it in your classwork and hand it in. Thank you very much. That was 1.3, Part 1. Part 2 and 3 are available here at this email, as well as all the other course materials here. Thank you.